Court documents dated Monday reveal that Facebook believes it has a First Amendment right to bar conservative political performance artist Laura Loomer. It appears Facebook is trying to have it both ways, though. On one hand, it wants to be protected by the First Amendment in its ability to decide who is and isn't an extremist. Now, in order to do this, in order to have an opinion about who is and isn't an extremist, it needs to be considered a publisher. But on the other hand, the company has been positioning itself as not a publisher, but a platform. Let's take a listen to them distancing themselves from this designation of publisher in the past.
Are you a tech company or are you the world's largest publisher? Because I think that goes to a really important question on what form of regulation or government action, if any, we would take.
Senator, this is a really big question. I view us as a tech company because the primary thing that we do is build technology and products.
But you said you're responsible for your content, which makes you kind of a publisher, right?
Well, I agree that we're responsible for the content, but we don't produce the content.
Now, the statement you just heard from Mr. Zuckerberg is one of the many examples of Facebook maintaining that it's not a media publishing company, but simply a tech platform. But here's the problem. If Facebook is in fact a neutral platform, then why is it partnering with the Atlantic Council, a neoconservative yet bipartisan think tank funded by weapons contractors, oil companies, and NATO? Now, these are all organizations that have a bias towards U.S. imperialism and U.S. hegemony. And as Ajamu Baraka points out, perhaps we should be concerned about the power we're giving these companies, and perhaps we should be concerned about their ability to decide whose ideas should be heard. Take on what the advent of Russiagate has done in terms of intensifying the censorship we're seeing on social media platforms. You know, we're hearing a lot in the mainstream corporate press about how it's usually the right, or at least it's publicized when it's the right gets censored by these giant tech corporations, but you actually take a different view. You say that this censorship has the real target of the left. Can you talk a little bit about that?
My concern has been what I refer to as liberal totalitarianism, that the Russiagate has been used as a weapon to convince the U.S. public that these giant tech companies should be given the power to determine the kind of information, the breadth of information that the public is exposed to. And I have said that there is a political agenda behind this. And the agenda is not to target Russia or to target the extreme right, but in fact the agenda is to target the left. That we are going to be the ultimate targets of this new McCarthyism, and it's been quite clear that that's been the objective. That there's been a kind of ideological conformity being imposed on the general public. Twitter, Facebook. Google, they have been actively involved in censoring information, determining that certain kinds of information does not meet their community standards, talking about Facebook, determining what information is acceptable and what information is beyond the pale of being acceptable and able to be exposed to the U.S. public. So it is a very dangerous situation that we see unfolding here in this country. And the door that was opened up to this was, in fact, a Russiagate.
So you haven't heard that we're the ones covering the stories that you won't see covered anywhere else? In Venezuela, Kazakhstan, let's go to Hong Kong. And the media reaction to that has been crickets. How about the way we cover those stories? What the hell does that mean? Huawei, Huawei, Huawei. That's the key word in this case, uprising. Keep? Can you believe that? Watching. This is the right thing for members of the media to do, to actually pick sides. Look, if you like what you see, subscribe.